It is our traditions, ceremonies, and rituals. Each small detail carries a deep layer of our ancestors' wisdom. It is our pride, our treasure, our national encyclopedia. Let's turn the pages of this encyclopedia together. In today's program, peculiarities of Betashar ceremony in Kazakhstan's regions, wedding differences in traditions, Kazakh cuisine. Each family has its own rules. In some families, traditions are carefully preserved and passed on from generation to generation. But probably there is no Kazakh family that does not remember the traditions at all. In the West, East, North or South, one way or another customs exist, but one can observe curious differences. Nowadays, wedding customs held in the west and in the north of Kazakhstan can significantly differ from each other. For instance, in the west, weddings can be celebrated during daytime, and some families hold Betashar, the ritual of revealing bride's face, only till noon, while in the east, people can only start getting ready for the main celebration at that time. In ancient times, the face of the bride who came to a husband's house was shown neither to a father-in-law nor to a mother-in-law. During 3 days, she spent the night without her husband in the company of other girls. On the morning of the 4th day, her face was covered with a large veil shawl, and she was brought to invited guests in a solemn wedding dress. One of the ends of the veil was tied to dombra, national musical instrument, or to a cane, and singer-improviser Joly sang Betashar Jırı, introducing the bride to parents and relatives of her husband. The Western Kazakhstan was able to preserve ancient traditions and culture to maximum extent. It was less affected by urbanization and new rhythm of life. Of course, we should mention the character of Western Kazakhs, who protected and fought for their traditions and customs. We understand that there cannot be a wedding without Betashar, but when performers do Betashar, they never tie the veil to the end of dombra, and it is a serious omission. The custom had the number of obligatory turns. The veil was tied to the end of dombra, some coins were rubbed to one of the ends of the veil for extra weight, and only the akın, singer, could start the custom. It was believed that dombra is the conductor of cosmic energy, the heavenly good, and provided connection between the upper and the middle worlds. That is why exactly this instrument was used in this ritual. Betashar songs in the west of Kazakhstan are performed in the daytime, since it is believed that a bride must cross the threshold of her husband's house before noon. Before 12 p.m., people perform Betashar, open the face of the bride, and she goes to her husband's house. The next thing is preparation for a wedding, i.e., the wedding for an adult generation is held in the afternoon at lunchtime in all other regions of Kazakhstan.
Свадьба для взрослого поколения, она проводится именно днем, в обеденное время. Во всех остальных регионах Казахстана
Betashar songs are performed only in the evening. It can be before the wedding, or a separate Betashar event is held separately, or before the beginning of the celebration. Well, it is held in the evening in all other regions. Many wedding ceremonies of Kazakhs have changed in our time. Moreover, some of them are considered as remnants of the past. For example, Kalın Mal. Bride price was a common question. This tradition was held before, but if you look at our history, you can see several historical factors that affected the change of these traditions. However, at the present time, Western or Northern Kazakhs have formed a different view on the bride price issue, in the sense that we do not sell our daughter. Before in the South, bride price was an obligatory part, since there the bride price did not play a trading role, but rather was an expression of respect and honor of in-laws to each other. Kalin was not only a compensation, but also was included in the custom called ananın sütü, that is, compensation for the mother's milk, but not in such a material sense, but as a tribute to the mother for the fact that she gave the world a potential mother. She brought up a worthy daughter who will be a worthy mother in another family, in another aul, village. There is such an interesting custom which is almost forgotten in eastern and southeastern Kazakhstan. It is a rite called biye kısırmaz. Kısır is not a foal mare. Immediately after the ceremony betashar, when the daughter-in-law prepares the food herself, she invites people to the house. She pours tea to her relatives, and this is her first test, as if when people look how skillful she is, how willing she is to enter this house, how much her heart is ready to become a mistress in this village. And the aksakals, honorable old men, and the elder women express to her good wishes, and, among other things, Yenge, mother-in-law, performs the ritual of biye kısırmaz. She takes a white kerchief or white cloth. She tears it at the dastarhan covered table, and the women take it to their homes. They divide the cloth into all jırtыс parts and tie them around sabah, a leather storage tank for storing kumis, horse milk, and say Bismillah biye kısırmaz. This is a very strong rite, which is held so that the girl was not barren. I think this is a very important rite in today's life that is worth doing. I saw this custom in southern Kazakhstan, in Kızıldağ region. It seems to be preserved in the region of Aris. In general, we cannot say that in one of the regions there is a tradition, but in the other it does not exist. There are only some differences. For example, the greeting of the daughter-in-law with a bow, that is salem, exists both in the west, in Mangistau region, and in the south of the country. But for many other regions, this tradition is not so important. That is, it is fulfilled conditionally and once during the wedding. But in the west, salem salu is the usual daily greeting. Also, there is a bow with a dish. After eating, the elders give the dish to the bride, that is, her share. If meat is served, it's not eaten completely, leaving a share for the daughter-in-law. Then they ask daughter-in-law to take the dish, and the daughter-in-law takes the dish in her hands and bows. The elders wish her happiness and long life. This is mainly the tradition of Western Kazakhstan, but recently a similar case was in Narınkol, a girl from Almaty. It was a case in our days. So a respected person came to their house and was indignant about why the daughter-in-law does not bow to the dish. Such a tradition existed. The older generation people know this, but there are not many of them. Kazakh cuisine nowadays looks quite different than centuries ago. Now guests are greeted with pilaf and manti or French meat. But however, the main national dish is still peshparmak. This dish is considered a sign of respect and honor. In various regions of Kazakhstan, it is prepared with certain characteristics inherent in one or another region. This is firstly connected with culture and climatic conditions. Dishes served in the north are not so common in the south, and the dishes you try in the south you will not find in the north.
Жеген тамақтарыңызды солтүстікте көрмейсіз. Мысалы, оңтүстікте бүкіл жаңағы құда.
For example, in the north, they prepare as southern people prepare for matchmaking or a simple arrival of guests. In the north, there is a deficit of vegetables in comparison with the south. Here arises the issue of accessibility. The northern territories are known for their abundant supply of meat dishes. In the northern part of the country, only meat without dough is served. In particular, it is common in Kokchetав. They serve meat, covering it with a dough like lavash, tortilla. Meat is cut into pieces, and shelpek, as they call the dough itself, is dipped in sauce and eaten together. In Kızıldağ region, bishparmak is often prepared with rice, which is radically different from family recipes in other parts of Kazakhstan. People in Aral region prepare various dishes from fish. Speaking about the territory of the Aral Sea, it borders with the territory of Karakalpakstan, and they had a similar culture. Karakalpaks have a dish called karma. It is when fish is boiled and served with dough. In our western region, fish is boiled and served like ordinary meat for beshbarmak. In the literary sources of the 19th century, one can find evidence of a developed fishing industry on the Caspian coast, the Jaik River and the Aral Sea. There were factories and fisheries. Therefore, for the population of the west of Kazakhstan, beshbarmak was transformed into fishparmak. Fish is a folklore. Yes, in the West I had an opportunity to try this dish from sturgeon with dough, and there are fans of such food. Actually, any culture is a way of adaptation to the environment, and if for the central, eastern and southern Kazakhstan fish cuisine is not peculiar at all.
Это результат приспособления человека к окружающей среде. Если для центрального Казахстана, восточного, южного Казахстана рыбная кухня вообще не свойственна, потому что это рыба. Зачем тратить столько?
Why spend so much effort catching fish when there is no need? Because there is enough animal protein. But in the West, it is clear that on the banks of Yedel, Jaik and the Caspian, Turks actively included fish in their diet. And this has adapted to the tradition of meat culture. Therefore, such a synthesis was formed. Any feast usually ends with tea drinking. Usually this process is managed by the daughter-in-law of this house. In the northeast, southeast Kazakhstan, mainly when tea is served, the cup is filled till the middle and above. And in the west, tea is poured to the middle. In the south, people are used to drink in the smallest pialkas, cups, pouring tea on the bottom. When a new daughter-in-law comes to a new family, Kelinchai rite is held. Families and close families gather at the table to get to know the girl more closely. It is interesting that in some regions of Kazakhstan it was customary for Kelinchai to give money. It was believed that if you are the first time visiting a new landlady of this house, you have to pay. Territory of Kazakhstan is very large, and each region has been preserving special traditions. In general, for example, if we consider the issue of conservation in our days, then each region is different in its own way, and there is a cultural exchange between regions. Such tendency exists. Despite the fact that many traditions and customs of Kazakhs today are held at times quite differently, yet their interpretation remains unified for all Kazakhstanis. The meaning of rituals is in uniting people, creating a sense of community and affinity. The Kazakh village does not exist in the way it used to be, and there are no nomads, wandering people. But most of prairie folkways and traditions still surround us. We follow them, but will not always know what they mean. Bahit Kairbekov, poet.